killed anything at that point is the question, I guess.
If you warp to Hoodie, you can pick the last match here probably.
Yeah, let's do one more, and then I
They're
think
counting
I'll
down
be
right
good.
now.
Okay, and what do you know? What time is it? Still 200 people in local. Wow,
Yeah. We
that's
have
crazy.
Waffles against, I think, White Legion.
What?
Who have been some of the better teams that have been entering the test open practice sessions?
Um, I screw up their name on quite a lot, but they've been flying with the ticket MLG, which is Vidra Reload
Fidra.
Loaded.
Yeah.
Vidra. And I've been really impressed by them. They haven't dropped many matches at all. They're going to be really good, I think. So they're definitely probably the best team I've seen practicing here. There's been a lot of teams which are. There's been a lot of kind of like mid-level teams like Horde, Test, Brave. Brave are pretty good to be honest. Kick my lights kick have been alright here. White Legion have been winning quite a lot, but they bring some really funky setups that I'm not. Their theory crafting is very experimental at this stage. We're watching them now. Actually, we're watching White Legion. This is Waffles, I think. Something
Yeah,
just
that's
died.
correct. That's correct. One of the Oneros for White Legion is very tackled by the entirety of the Waffles support team, which is all Brutixes and Megathrons. So they're going to apply a lot of damage, but not a lot of good damage type.
Did Waffles have a logistics that died already, or are they going for a kind of like a rush no logi setup here?
I'm not entirely sure, but
It's the letter.
possible they
Okay.
could be a whole tanking comp. You can
Judging by the
confirm
speed
that,
that
Hoodie.
Briggs is going down, I'm gonna guess he is actually armor tackled, I guess, but tanked. My guess is, but I mean, with two Pontifexes, you'd be a bit
Oh yeah,
waste being
that's right.
a whole tanks, I reckon. But the nearest from of Malfang is definitely gonna die very soon, which will equal up the balance in terms of whether or not you've got logistics. The Brutix is in low armor. Let's see what they go for next, I guess. Looks like they're burning towards a Balgon of Desti. He's next on the hit list of the gang squad, and he's definitely very tackled now. And these battle cruisers and battleships are piling on top of him. I think it looks pretty good for White Legion. They've done a couple of these kind of like all rushy or DPSy setups, and in my experience, I love flying them. They're a lot of fun. It's kind of like just you pick a primary, and you barrel towards it, and you overload everything, and uh, it's quite effective against teams who don't know what to do against it. It's very ineffective against teams who do know what to do against it. Do you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, I've been on. I've ran that kind of a comp where you're describing, and I've dealt with it. So it's you have to be very good at screening um, ships away from each other. So ideally, what you want to do is you want to tackle the Brutixes and the Megathrons away from each other.
yeah,
So that they can't apply their damage to any one target very well. And once you do that, you've essentially won the match. But it takes a lot of execution.
a lot. Yeah, like White Legion are pulling it off. Sorry, not White Legion. The other guys, Waffles are pulling it off quite effectively here. They're just going from ship to ship. They're ganking it. The Balgon though is taking quite a long time to die. You really have to keep the speed at which you're killing stuff up. Like if anyone burns their guns out or whatever, and it snowballs the other way horrifically. In training, in my experience, these kind of all rushy setups do quite well against teams um, who don't know how to do it. Like you said, who don't like kind of like a mid-range or lower range teams. This kind of rushing setup is quite effective. But I remember when we were in Tuskers, we dug out an Orgalente Blaster Rush versus I think it was Camel in the semi-final. Was it quarter-final? And it was a best of three anyway. So it must have been semi-final. It was best of three, and we were against Camel. And we brought it out. Basically, we'd beaten Camel in the first match, lost in the second, and then like basically we ran out of ideas for the third one. So we brought out an Orgalente Rush, and we were up against a drone boat setup that just had tons of tackle and newts and the drones, and it was just perfect counter. Really, they basically just picked one each of our ships to screen. We went for the Logi, and I think we only ever got one ship on top of the Logi. Every other ship was pinned down and neutered out really, really hard. And the drones obviously are brilliant in that situation because you can spread the tackle out, but the DPS can still apply to the primer really well. And it looks like it's that rush setup looks like it's failing here for Waffles. They've only got one Megatron left.
Yeah, despite killing the Onera set early.
Yeah, the Balgorn just took a lot of damage incoming. I mean, that's the power of having a reactive armor hardener and only having one real damage type, is that it's going to react to all Kintherm incoming damage. And once it does, if you've got a lot of buffer or rep drones on you, suddenly your blaster DPS doesn't apply very well at all, and that's a scary thing to have to deal with.